mid-range deck. He's got 2 Blood Baron of Viscopa, which is a pretty good card from Dragon's Maze. Saw that doing some work in the at the Pro Tour actually. Near Heath Pilgrim, he's got Obsidat. We're going to see. We might even see a little Obsidance, where one's in play and the other one's blinked out.
That's because Joe Edens also has an Obsidat.
Yeah, we've got 4 copies of Boros Reckoner. Some Sin Collectors that are gonna do some work alongside. Yeah, those do work
it's going to be
with Restoration Angels. Yeah, you're gonna see.
Yes, and there are Restoration Angels in Devon's deck.
He's got 2 Rock's Faithmenders to side out, and
yeah, basically.
A copy of Rest in Peace, and he's got 4 Pillars, 2 Liliana of the Veil, some Blasphemous Axe, some Tragic Slip, Mizium Mortar, Dreadbore, and War Leader's Helix, which is picking up speed.
Right, that card's good.
Yeah, it really is. Actually, I had 4 copies in my blue, white, red list, and it really keeps you in games when you don't have access to.
I don't know if you read. There was an article on the Mothership about they were possibly reprinting Lightning Helix.
I didn't read that. I kept meaning to.
And then they like added mana to it and made it like 3 mana War Leader's Helix. I'm just like, jeez. That would have been crazy. Like, it's very good at 4 mana. And if they would have thankfully they reprinted as
they printed it as is.
As is and not any better. Because
I would have loved Lightning Helix. I don't
nobody would ever play a beatdown deck.
Sure. Yeah. Snapcaster Lightning Helix.
Yeah, game over.
Yeah.
All right, so we have a mulligan from Joe on your left.
Not what you want to be doing as the control deck, but
I wonder how far it is from Bentonville, Arkansas. That's where Joe is from.
Yeah, that's quite a drive.
That's good. I've done some crazy trips. They were mostly when I was living in Phoenix.
Yeah.
But I've done some crazy trips just because I wanted to play in an open.
Sometimes the road trip's just fun, I just want a road trip. Where can I road trip to? Where's the kind of not closest open, but still close?
Make sure it's not too close.
Right, you're like, well, that's not much of a road trip. What open can I go to that's kind of far away? But
once I asked what the longest somebody's ever driven just for an open, somebody said they once drove 18 hours.
Oh my God!
To an open.
From where?
I think it was no, it was from. I believe it was Michigan to Washington D.C.
Wow. All right, we're underway. We got a Hallowed Fountain and a Blood Crypt. One on each side of the board. Glacial Fortress comes into play untapped for Joe Edens, exactly as you want. Doesn't have access to black yet, so maybe it could have been a little bit better, but Godless Shrine from Devon.
You'd think a black-white mid-range deck would have one of the best black-white cards
Zealous
in the form.
Conscription? Or was it Zealous Persecution?
Yeah, I was thinking Lingering Souls.
Yeah, Lingering Souls.
But you will not see Lingering Souls from Devon's deck. But you will see Liliana of the Veil as it hits play. Very powerful.
Yeah, against the Eden's deck. Yeah.
He's drawing a card with Zoria's Charm, just to give him better options.
Yeah.
To discard.
I tried to think of one of the.
Wow.
Well, yeah.
Two pretty good cards. Like Joe must be flooded.
Right, he discards an island, but Devon discards a Restoration Angel.
Every once in a while, somebody incorrectly discards a land in this situation.
Right. Augur's not going to hit a land. I mean, it's not
going to hit a Think Twice. One of the best cards against Liliana of the Veil, for sure. When you're playing against Liliana of the Veil, you want to keep your lands. Wow, that's sweet.
Oh, Sin Collector.
He should absolutely take the Think Twice. He can't take the Jace Memory Adept, unfortunately, which is the card he really needs to take.
Right.
But he should absolutely take the Think Twice.
Yeah, the Revelation is embarrassing.
Because then if he takes a Think Twice, and then plus Liliana,
right?
Yeah, he's gonna have to discard that Sphinx's Revelation if he wants to play as Jace.
Right.
So now he's just gonna +1 Liliana and discard the Think Twice, and the Think Twice will be in the graveyard.
Which is exactly what happened. Yeah.
So I mean,
he would have been better off doing the.
Yeah, Devon basically cost himself a card there.
Draws, I believe, another Nephalia Drownyard. That's off the top for Joe.
Okay, and That'll work. If you're Joe, proper Liliana play is always difficult. Or not Liliana, Jace Memory Adapt.
Okay.
Do you want to plus it here, or do you just want to hope you can mill them out
Right.
before they can find something?
Yeah.
Given
he's thinking about it.
he's going for 10. I would probably plus it. He probably needs to find an answer to this Jace. He's also facing down a Sin Collector that can kill it fairly easily. So he wants to bump up the loyalty if possible. And the other reason is if I'm seeing a black-white red deck, I'm expecting Lingering Souls.
Sure.
Which Joe does not have a good response to right now. And if you just mill one of them for free, basically,
Right.
that can be significant. Like here, if Devon has a Pillar of Flame and Jace is dead, or Dreadbore.
Dreadbore will kill it too. So.
In which case you wanted the card for sure.
Right. Right. Especially facing that Liliana. So Sin Collector's gonna get in.
I would plus Liliana here. Take another hit. Not using it. I think he just forgot about it.
Yeah. What does he have in hand that is the easiest card?
At minimum, he's going to Edict the Augur Bolus.
So Augur knocks Liliana down to 3. Devon untaps his Sin Collector and plays a Sacred Foundry. He's going to go ahead and Edict the Augur.
Now, yeah, I would imagine that Devon's hand is pretty good. His first discard was a Restoration Angel. And Restoration is awesome with Sin Collector.
Yeah, so whatever he's got there, which can't seem to get a good look. I keep getting a glare, but yeah.
Devon being a huge meanie face and not tilting his cards towards the camera. Keeping his cards to himself. I see.
So Joe now with 2 Drown Yards on board, no other permanents aside from his lands, and passes back. And this
is going to get dissipated.
Yeah. So dissipate.
I believe that's a Supreme Verdict. If I know my promos
I didn't get it
correctly. Yeah. Joe looks to have a Water Grave and a promo Supreme Verdict. It might be a Sphinx's Revelation. It's an Azorius card for sure.
And I think there goes the Watery Grave. Liliana gets plussed and a Pillar of Flame.
So these are situations where like Devon's deck is playing very much like a Jund deck. He's using his Liliana to get rid of his cards that are not exciting.
Right.
Outside of it. And the damage is really already done. Like he traded cards.
Yeah.
He had to trade for he should have traded for Sphinx's Revelation, but he traded for a Think Twice.
Sure. But Detention Sphere comes down for Joe to deal with Liliana, and Devon now on the offense with Sin Collector to follow up his Boros Reckoner, foil Boros Reckoner. All right,
Good.
Joe.
And if you're Joe, you're hoping my read is right, and yep, that is a Supreme Verdict.
Yeah, the John Avon version, which is also one of the lithographs.
Oh, sweet. Looks like Devon's just got a Dreadbore left in his hand. So he actually needed to... Liliana's his only real threat outside of the Restoration Angel that got dissipated. So once Joe found...
an answer to Liliana.
I'll answer to Liliana. He's looking pretty good here. He basically has 10 life, but he has both Drown Yards, and he can just...
Woo!
Just kidding. Here comes the Ghost Father himself.
Yeah,
Obsidat.
And that's for Devon, because both players do have Obsidat in their decks. Devon has his on the board first, and and here goes the...
Tries to put it on top of his deck, but Joe mills him for 6.
So Obsidat resolves, and then Joe drowns twice.
Not too important, except for you get a little bit... Devon's got a very non mainstream deck going on here. He has good cards in his deck, so you've got to figure out what cards they are.
Exactly. Now he's going to drown himself. Hits Augur land far and away.
Yeah, I think you want to pick a person and stick to it.
Sure, I agree.
If you're gonna mill yourself for value, like milling your opponent is not value until the last time you mill them.
Exactly.
So I think Joe's dead. He's going to take 5, go to 1.
Right, and as soon as that object comes back, he's dead.
Right, so what can Joe even draw?
Yeah, now he's milling Devon again and hits another Obsidat. Irrelevant. Joe could possibly draw.
It's not really important what you're taking away as much as what is possibly there. The embarrassing ultimate price against the Obsidat.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a downside of diversifying your removal.
How many renounced the guilds does he play? Because that's a pretty good answer to that.
0 main, but 2 in the sideboard.
But he's going with the detention spheres. He's got obviously 1 main, 1 board.
Maybe I had life totals wrong, or maybe Devon forgot to attack last turn. But looks like okay. So yeah, Devon chose not to attack last turn. To play around Azorius Charm. That's a very realistic option because the Drawn Yard would take it out. So he's just gonna drain him 2. I don't like that. This is gonna be really slow. This actually might let Joe flashback. He drew Snapcaster Mage. Might be able to flashback something pretty impressive.
We know he's got a Verdict. We know he's got.
Yeah, Verdict's not going to do much. Now he has access to the Charm.
Right.
So he can't. I guess now that Restoration Angel was the draw from Devon, so he can actually attack here.
Yeah.
I think Joe's play is to flashback Far and Away. Snapcaster flashback Far and Away. Before blockers. So it'll get rid of one of them, likely the Blood Baron.
Yeah.
Oh.
Did he do? What did he? Snapcaster Azorius Charm? And
yeah, he drew a card. I don't like that at all.
No, because he had a definite answer to one of them, and then Snapcaster can block.
You find the other one.
Yeah. Yeah, that was not what I expected him to do. I mean, I know you want to draw cards, but that's not.
This is the slowest mill of all time. And maybe there's a judge issue. Okay, if Devon had Restoration Angel in his hand, he could have just won the game there by blinking Obsidat.
Right.
All the Azorius Charms.
Yeah, Azorius Charm. Every
he's gonna
charm
pack
seems
it
to.
in.
Yeah, it's just not getting there. So Obsidat does his work for Devon Chu and takes down Joe Edens in game 1. Joe went a mulligan to 6, but that was a match that felt like it could have gone either way until you saw the Obsidat, and then Joe just couldn't find an answer for it.
Both players were empty-handed. Devon goes Obsidat, Blood Baron.
Right.
And Joe's just like
nothing.
Augur Bolus, like spinning wheels only.
Yeah.
So I'd imagine things get radically different after sideboard for both players. Joe gets to streamline his removal. You saw the ultimate price that was really, really, really bad.
Yeah.
That game. It gets to upgrade to Renounce the Guilds. Also has a Detention Sphere, possibly a Blind Obedience.
See, I don't
stop Ghost Council from attacking.
I do not like the Detention Spheres if you're going to play Renounce the Guilds. You know, and vice versa. If you're going to play Detention Sphere, don't play Renounce the Guilds. Because you put yourself in an awkward situation where you're like, do I board both of these in? Do I have them at the same time? And then you end up in a situation where you're like, I need to use this Renounce the Guilds and can't. And really, all you're gaining, at least unless I'm missing something, is the possibility of a more than 1-for-1 with your Detention Sphere over Oblivion Ring. Like, I don't know that I've ever cast a Detention Sphere and gotten more than an Oblivion Ring out of it.
I've gotten some tokens.
Sure. And,
That's
yeah,
a
so that's,
lingering souls.
right. Okay. So
The thing that you can sphere away.
it just seems like it doesn't happen often enough.
Yeah,
Now that Renounce the Guilds is around, obviously.
Absolutely.
Pre-Renounce the Guilds, you go with the Detention Sphere, but post-Renounce the Guilds, I mean, I can't see playing Detention Sphere and Renounce the Guilds in the same deck.
Right.
Because now he's against a deck where he could actually use both. Like he wants an Oblivion Ring effect for planeswalkers that act, that do slip through his counter spells.
Yeah, and you saw he has the one Detention Sphere main, he has one in the sideboard.
Right.
But they're going to be at odds with his Renounce the Guilds.
Yeah, so in that case, he could have gone, well, I'll renounce the Guilds, but you get your Liliana back.
Right.
Like that.
And that's not where you want to be.
Cool.
With Devon, his deck is really his deck's kind of wild.
It really is.
If you missed it, there's a mill with Nephalia drawn here that revealed a Near-Hearth Pilgrim.
Yeah.
In addition, he's got two of those. He's got 2 Rock's Faith Menders. Mm-hmm. He has 1 main deck Rest in Peace. That's commitment right there. I want a Rest in Peace so badly, I'm not willing to play Lingering Souls.
Yeah.
In my Liliana of the Veil deck.
Right. He's got 4 Rest in Peace in his 75. He's got 3 more on the board, which is just crazy.
He's likely to bring in Sire of Insanity #2.
Yep. Another Liliana.
Liliana #3. First 2 copies of Assemble the Legion. The 3rd copy of Sin Collector, and 2 copies of Duress.
I like it. He's got quite a bit.
Yeah, I do like a little bit of what both players are doing here, where they have a low amount of a card in the main and additional copies in the sideboard.
Yeah.
For the matchups where it's really good.
Sure.
A card like Sin Collector, you can usually get some amount of value.
He got a ton of value out of it there.
Well, but this is a matchup where it's 4.
And then swing, yeah.
I mean, sometimes you can get like a Searing Spear or like a Grizzly Salvage, or something like most decks, or an Advent of the Worm. Most decks have like a handful of targets. But when it's good, you want more copies. So I would imagine that he's either siding them in or siding them out in every match.
Yeah, right.
And it's a good way to let your deck be good against a wider variety of other possible
it increases your chances of doing well game 1.
Yes.
And then game 2 you adjust.
You streamline your deck a little more.
Yeah. So as we mentioned, the Rock's Faith Menders are coming out. The Pilgrims are probably coming out. He doesn't have
a lot. Yeah.
Any use for
Devon has quite a few cards. They're in low numbers, but a lot of these cards that are not very good against a deck like Joe's.
Yeah. I do like the style of Esper Control that Joe is playing. Like you mentioned, there's a lot of one-ofs. It's hard to play around. Well, it's
you know what's in your hand, your opponent does not.
Right.
But if they know what's in your deck, they can play around more of them. But if you just have so many different effects in your deck, it's a tough fob. Really good principle of this came up in the Star City Invitational in Atlanta. My top 8 match was against Ross Merriam, and he had 1 copy of Mindbreak Trap. And it's
what are you playing?
Storm.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. And I can't beat a Mindbreak Trap, but I just either had to. I don't want to keep in my discard spells, but he has this Mindbreak Trap, so I'm kind of forced
you're just dead to it. Yeah.
Right, but it's only 1 copy, and things like that. It was very difficult for me to.
Right. How do you do that? You really just can't bring in your discard spells against 1 card. So anyway, we're underway. Both players with hitting their land drops, and Devon has a Rest in Peace. So that'll shut off Snapcaster. That'll shut off the flashback on Think Twice.
Best possible draw for Joe right here. Your opponent plays a Rest in Peace, of course.
You draw
Snapcaster. Just to rub salt in the wound.
That blue ambush viper.
Yeah. I'd still much rather be on the Snapcaster on the Snapcaster side of that exchange, because Devon has a card that does nothing, whereas Joe now has a Joe would have a 2/1.
Yeah.
But reason you play a card like Recipes is you're trying to get more than 1-for-1 with it. You don't only get that Snapcaster, but you get the next Snapcaster.
Exactly.
You get the other thing twice.
So, meanwhile, you see a Sin Collector from Devon, and it is met with a Syncopate from Joe. So, Joe keeping the board clear, keeping his hands safe.
Sin Collector probably the most often counter-spelled creature, because they could just take your counter spell.
Makes sense. There's a Liliana on the stack. Joe has access to Dissipate.
So he's going to discard Warped Physique.
Does not have a Dissipate in hand, though.
But he's going to get Ambush Viper mode on Yule Snapcaster. Draws Sphinx's Revelation. So Joe has a couple options. He can Detention Sphere the Liliana here.
There it is.
That's a play. He could also just choose to attack it.
Sure. Yeah. Doesn't want to. I guess it's like, do you just give him the card out of your hand with? Yeah. I don't know which one of those I like better.
Depends on how much you value. Like, yeah, Warp Physique is not a card. Wow, I did not expect that.
No, me neither. Near Heath Pilgrim stayed in the deck.
Man. All right, Devon. When you go back and watch this, this is a strong recommendation to play Boros Charm in your deck. Because he has Boros Reckoner. He can give it lifelink with the Near Heath Pilgrim, but he can't make it indestructible. And infinite life is your goal.
All right, so Snapcaster and Pilgrim, this is like a weird little slap fight. With
yeah.
Like, I hit you with Pilgrim, I hit you with my jug of water on my arm or whatever.
Well, Joe's a couple lands away, but he's got the... He can end that fight quickly.
Yeah, he's got...
he has a Revelation, a Supreme Verdict, an Obsidat. Wow, gaining life is not the way to be an Esper control deck, but Devon disagrees.
Yeah, so there you see a...
he wants Faithbender and Near Heath Pilgrim just as threats, and Obsidat's going to come to play. Strangely enough, both life totals are going to go up very highly.
Yeah, this is going to be real interesting because on board right now we have Near Heath Pilgrim and Rock's Faithbender life-linking happily. And on Joe's side of the board, we have Snapcaster Mage and Obsidat. Of course, Obsidat's going to blink in and out, so the 2 life is just going to...
Yeah, we'll see.
Get your hands ready over there, Connor, because you're going to have to change life totals quite a bit.
All right, so Devon attacks for 1, but gains 2. The Snapcaster holding the Pilgrim at bay. So this basically looks like Joe is really heavily favored.
Yeah, Obsidat gains him 2 life, takes away the 2 from Devon.
Racing situation. The Near Heath Pilgrim, if that could attack, that'd be a much bigger deal.
And Joe blinks out his
Obsidat. But the Snapcaster Mage is keeping it at bay. So here comes Restoration Angel. I believe going to pair with the Pilgrim.
Yeah, I think he blinked it and paired it.
Yeah. That's what Restoration Angel was actually intended to do. It was not intended to reuse come to play effects, but to reset Avacyn Restored. Very much designed...
All the Soul Bond guys?
Yeah. With the blink effects were intended to reset the Soul Bond guys.
Interesting. So we have a Dreadbore from Devon to clear the way for his guys, Snapcaster.
So this becomes a lot more interesting race. Now Devon's really turned the tide.
And Sphinx's Revelation for 3 from Joe.
He only draws 3 lands.
Yeah. But now that's his 7th land, so he can play Aetherling with mana up if he wants.
Right. I've been told that you often want, if you can afford to, you want 2 mana up.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, the more the better, obviously.
Yeah. And
I think I may wait for 2 here as well, but I wouldn't be shocked if he decided to go ahead and just play it with 1 up.
Okay, Joe is trying to see if he's allowed to leave it. He is not.
Right.
I believe that's what it is.
He missed the trigger, but it's
You're not allowed to intentionally miss the trigger.
Yeah.
And Joe did the right thing. He asked the judge if he's allowed to.
Right.
I believe that's what he said, because you could see emotion towards it, and then the judge would answer his question.
Right.
And that's a really good thing. It's like, hey, I'm allowed to do it. Am I allowed to do this? And like, no, you're not. All right, then I won't do it.
Yeah. So Obsidat crashing in for 5.
Yeah, that would be very good if Joe could save his Obsidat from a Supreme verdict.
Yeah. And decides to keep the Obsidat in this time.
He might have just forgot.
I'm wondering about that too.
That's my best guess.
Because he just basically just said, I don't want 2 life. I don't want to drain you for 2.
Right.
Like, I don't know what advantage he has to keeping the Obsidat out here.
So in comes the team far and away from Joe. It's gonna be awesome. He's bouncing that because he wants to kill me. Interesting. So Devon values his Faith Mender more than his Restoration Angel.
Yeah, that was an interesting little trick there where, you wonder if Devon wasn't thinking, because Joe went, bounced that, sacrificed one of your guys, pointed to the Angel, and Devon just picked up the Angel, and,
Yeah.
It could have been one of those where he may have just thought, oh, I have to sacrifice my Angel, and then not really paying close attention. I don't know, I don't know about that. But it seems like he'd rather have, well, he seems to really like lifelink, I guess.
Yeah, he's a real big fan of gaining life.
There's a Blood Baron.
Aetherling would like to take away that life, but yeah, Devon has a lot of life gain in his deck. If you think about it.
Especially against a control deck, it's real weird that he kept a lot of it in. I jokingly said, oh, he's got 2 Rocks Faith Menders to board out, in game 1 when they were talking
Devon
about
disagrees.
it. Devon says, no, I have that to keep in against the control deck. I'm not sure. So, Obsidat blinks out, leaving Aetherling all by himself. Well, I guess there are 2 of them there. 2 guys on the Aetherling.
Right. So Aetherling actually stops Devon from attacking here. And I would imagine that we see the Aetherling take down this match. But
baby.
Devon's gonna make things a little more insane.
Yeah, Sire of Insanity for Devon, and it resolves. And now here comes an attack. So
this attack is crazy.
So Aetherling's gonna block the Blood Baron. Devon's gonna get in with the Faith Mender.
I do not understand this attack at all.
No, he just ran his
traded his Blood Baron for Aetherling, and he got 1 damage and 10 points of life out of it. But that doesn't seem like enough of a payoff for me. I understand it a lot more if you wait until next turn to activate your Vault of the Archangel, so that the Aetherling can't actually kill something.
Right.
It can only, blink.
Right, because of death touch, right.
So imagine Aetherling becomes unblockable. Swings in for 8.
And the other thing is, by attacking, he gives Joe the opportunity to use an Azorius Charm that otherwise would have been a dead card, would have been discarded to the Sire of Insanity. And he gets value out of it if Joe had an Azorius Charm there. Like, he didn't, but still.
Yeah. So Joe basically is showing that he put a land into play tapped, paid 1 of his mana to make it unblockable, paid 4 of his mana to make it blank.
To make it 8 power.
And look at all this blinking.
Yeah, it's like Aetherling,
everything's
blink
going
Aetherling out, end my turn, blink Obsidat out, blink Aetherling in.
If you want to play, you need to do it in like 1 motion, where you use the Aetherling
to flip the
Obsidat. Yeah. And then on the other, oh no, you have to have them both in play for a little bit. But it'd be sweet, like if you would blink out the Aetherling.
Yeah. When the Obsidat.
Yeah, so you can do it on the reverse.
Dance. Just tape them together and flip them. They're never in play at the same time.
Yeah,
it's like Clark Kent and Superman.
Yeah, there's no good attacks for Devon here.
Obsidat is the Clark Kent if
attacks anyway. So yeah, Devon just draws a pretty worthless Cavern of Souls.
Yeah, named Spirit.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard to get your creatures countered when Sire of Insanity is in play.
There's no cards in hand. Yeah.
So those cards come back, and I think that was a warp physique.
Everybody in, so is Joe, Aetherling, and Obsidat tag teaming to drop Devon below 10 here. We're gonna see
I think this is going to take
everything.
15 this turn. 2 from the drain.
Right, and then
13 from the attack.
Right.
And Obsidat's going to get blinked out. Joe missing another really cool opportunity. He needs to discard his card, however.
Yes, he does.
If you can
we got
kill the table judge.
Yeah, Joe should discard his card, Sire of Insanity. Yeah, I mean it's not terrible right now unless he tries to use it, whatever it happens to be. Yeah, it's weird playing against some of these cards that you're just like, oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, I do have to discard that. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I don't. This
Warped Physique, the worst card against Sire of Insanity.
This card isn't good anyway.
But it's instant speed removal. Yeah, it's great if you have it when the Sire is cast. That's it. Worst chop deck. But yeah, there you go. Devon getting in with Sire and Rock's Faith Mender after adding a Blood Baron to the board.
So yeah, Devon's gonna go up to 6, but it's not gonna be enough. Yeah,
Aetherling gonna take him out. Doesn't even need to pump here because there's Obsidat gonna drop Devon to 4.
Yep.
Aetherling swings in unblockable. Yeah, plays his land.
Unblockable. Here we come.
There
and
it is.
We're going to game 3.
Yeah, game 3 between 2 really interesting decks. Devon's is kind of really far out in left field, and Joe's deck is an unconventional Esper deck. A little unconventional.
The thing I like about Esper is that
it's blue, white, and black. Me too.
Just the shard is that it has its like people that love Esper more than other guild members love their guild.
Yeah. That's fair.
Its most devout followers.
I think you're right.
I know plenty of people. There are a couple of people that I play with locally that are just mono Esper all the time, and good players too.
Yeah.
And they're just completely unwilling to play non-Esper decks. Shaheen Sarani is
he's the most
well known of the. I'd actually consider you pretty devout Esper.
Pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely a big Esper fan, but again, it's more Azorius. It's, you know what I mean? It's Azorius, and then Esper's where I typically go with that when I go the 3 colors. But I think I'm
just gonna go out on a limb and say Devon Chu is not a devout Dega follower. No. I don't think they have too many. They don't even have a real name.
Sure. Speaking of the names, it's weird because I don't know. I guess it would be interesting to look it up. But the word Esper, the first time I saw it was in Final Fantasy 3 or 6.
Yeah.
Right.
In
and
video
it was
games,
Espers, right? And then it was the shard is called Esper. Did that word have some sort of root?
I believe
before?
I believe it does have some sort of fantasy meaning.
Right. I'd be interested to look. Now, of course, it could have been before Final Fantasy, but that was my first encounter with that word, and I think that's part of why I like that shard too. I'm like, Final Fantasy, Magicite, come on.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things I remember when shards came out. And wasn't it shards of Magicite that you were getting too? Isn't that weird too? That Esper came out with shards of Alara. I mean, I think they just totally ripped off Final Fantasy.
Yeah. I like that more than a lot of the names just sound like usual scrambler and picked a bunch of letters.
Yeah. We just need this many vowels and this many consonants. Just throw them together and we've got this. Yeah.
Naya. I think everything's made up before somebody makes it up.
Sure.
So.
Well, going to game 3 here. If you're just joining us, I'm Joey Pasco in the booth with Adam Prosak, and we're coming to you guys live from St. Louis, technically Collinsville, but just outside of St. Louis, Collinsville, Illinois.
Another cool location.
At the Gateway Center.
If you want to join in all the fun we're having, you can get on the Twitter.
Yes, you can.
We're at SCG Live, and this event is using the hashtag $SCGSTL. You can find them at the bottom of your screen. and join in on the fun. Tell us what awesome plays. Tell us how much you love the Near Hearth Pilgrim and Devon Choose deck.
So speaking of insanity, I did have a tweet from Sanity's Last Chance on Twitter, who mentioned about the possibility of Arcane Denial as a fair 2 casting cost counter in Standard.
Okay, we're talking about that.
Yeah, going back, this is from 40 minutes ago, because we haven't been,
Right.
the internet's a little iffy in here, and we're not able to keep up with Twitter as much as we'd like. It's not loading super quickly, but we're going to try to fix that when we can. But
that's a really interesting
one. We haven't seen that in a while.
He just, I think the Sire of Insanity just wants more cards to discard. So it's like, okay, Arcane Denial, some stuff. All right,
Sure.
let's discard more cards.
So speaking of discard, Devon Chu leads off with a Duress on turn 1, and we see 4 lands, Sphinx's Revelation, Far Away, and Snapcaster Mage. So yeah, can't take the Snapcaster. Devon thinking. He really likes
the card you take here is really heavily dependent on your hand.
Yeah.
If you have something like a Sin Collector,
Right.
You absolutely want to take the Far and Away. But if you have, like, if you're just going to be like a Liliana, you definitely want to take the Revelation.
So he goes with the Far and Away.
Yep. So Joe's hand's pretty good.
Yeah, pretty solid hand.
Very duress proof. So Devon goes to his turn. I think Joe draws an Aetherling, so Devon's going to be under significant pressure. A Miracle Terminus.
Yeah, not
so miraculous.
No, not at all. It's like the clouds parted and nothing happened.
I think Joe didn't even flinch, man. So Devon's slow to develop this game for sure. Wow, awesome card for Joe.
Jace, Architect of Thought off the top.
Very underplayed, by the way.
Yeah, I agree.
Devon does have a Dreadboard, but he's going to lose some value in the meantime.
Sure, so Boros Reckoner from Devon. Going to be the first threat on the board for either player.
So he might not lose value if Joe decides to go for his Jace and uptick it. That could, because like if you downtick it, it just dies to the Reckoner.
Right.
The other option is to not play it.
Oh, but he's going to play it.
But he wants to play it. So when I expect Joe to up. Oh wow!
No, he
just
wants the cards. Yeah.
Not great cards.
Sweeper land.
He's gonna get that. I would definitely take the Chapel and the Terminus, any 2-card pile, pretty much. But he's gonna lose it basically for free to the Reckoner. So it's 4 mana, like, and get 1 activation and gain 3 life.
Draw a card.
It's not terrible, but it's not like it's not at its best.
Right.
The real goal with Jace, Architect of Thought, is to get 2 activations, 2 -2s from it.
Yeah, and we've seen Devon make some unconventional choices before, so he may just decide to attack Joe's life total and Jace.
Dreadbore.
Yeah, he could Dreadbore here too. No, he attacks Jace. Okay.
I think it's more card choice. Yeah.
Assemble the Legion. Yeah,
the Legion is now assembled.
Now I know why he didn't Dreadbore. And that can get out of hand.
Yeah,
very,
wow.
very quickly. Very quickly.
Assemble Legion's quite the magic card. Look at Devon. He has like a whole case of. Do you see that? It's just off screen, but he has literally like a whole case. He's got like at least 20 assemble tokens.
Oh yeah, he's ready.
He's ready to assemble some Legions.
So here's a situation where Renounce the Guilds and Oblivion Ring, Detention Sphere would be good. You know, one or the other, because you can all those will deal with the cards on the board. But he couldn't go like Detention Sphere, Oblivion Ring. You know, he couldn't go Detention Sphere and then draw into the Renounce because he'd be in an awkward spot. He doesn't have either right now. I'm just thinking about answers he has in his deck.
Joe is going to, with the trigger of the Assemble Legion on the stack, is going to Snapcaster away, half of Far and Away. That will take care of the Boros Reckoner. The Boros Reckoner is the least of Joe's problems right now.
Yeah, because
Devon Chu is bringing the heat. First it's Assemble the Legion.
Then it's
if that's not enough for you, Obsidat's coming to play. these are not killable, like very difficult to remove threats. Supreme Verdict, Joe I think has 2 Terminus in hand.
Yeah.
Both very terrible.
Yeah, this is
against
looking real.
the threats that Devon presented this game. The thing is, these Terminus would have been good against Devon's game 2 draw.
Right. He has just such a strange kind of build.
Right. It's just like the power of mixing and matching your threats. So if I'm Devon, I do not attack with the Soldier token. It's like a subtle play, but it gives him a chance to block. Now if Joe draws Renounce the Guilds.
Exactly what I was about to say. Because those tokens, and this is a big deal, because those tokens are actually multicolored. So having one on board when you, here's the Obsidance.
Come on, double blink. Blink it, blink it, blink it. I want to see. It's probably incorrect for Joe to blink it, but I just want to see it.
So yeah, he's not gonna have
All right.
And you know what? Next week, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah, next week
they're gonna both stick,
or
they're gonna blink. Yeah, they're gonna do the Obsidance, but yeah, the fact that those assemble tokens are multicolored makes Renounce the Guilds a bad answer to it.
I believe Devon missed his assemble trigger because he has drawn a card. Asking the judge, because he did the whole Obsidian thing and then drew a card.
Yeah.
And I believe the judge is checking to see if it's a May. I believe it is.
And so he doesn't get it.
Yeah, Devon missed his Assemble the Legion trigger.
And Boros Reckoner comes down for Devon.
Gives
Joe a window to find and Renounce the Guilds.
Yeah.
Even though Reckoner obviously ruins that.
Reckoner,
plan.
yeah, for sure. This might be one of those things he can choose between. I don't think Terminus is a very good option. Aetherling is an aggressive option.
Yeah, with no mana up to protect it either.
The thing is, that might be what you have to do to beat Assemble Legion.
You just need it out there earlier.
5 mana, 2 attacks. Granted, we know that Dreadbore is gonna have something to say about that.
Sure.
But Joe doesn't know that, and taking an aggressive line against Assemble Legion is not that bad of an idea, even if it's really risky. Because playing it safe is just going to get you run over.
Yeah, there goes the Dreadbore, there goes the Aetherling. Yep. And here comes everybody, Reckoner and 2 Assemble tokens, or Soldier tokens. Gonna knock Joe to 11. How does Joe get out of this?
Yeah, this one's tough. Oh,
Sin Collector's gonna make it
doesn't
tougher.
make it any easier.
And he's gonna find double Terminus, double Revelation, and a Syncopate. Devon,
Devon very happy to see this hand. None of these cards particularly do anything.
Right, Revelation can gain him 3 and get him some more cards. So I mean, I guess you take a Revelation. It's you got to take something. May as well go and take a Revelation.
You can almost roll it.
As he draws another.
I mean, it's not very good, but it's
pretty
amusing.
So buys a little bit of time here.
Not really, because Joe's gonna have to Terminus next turn too.
We got a toppling deck.
Ner's playing a little bit of a part. Devon senses that he's got this.
Everybody in, gonna knock Joe to 6. Oh, War Leader's Helix, you're at 2.
I'm at 20.
Go. Joe has a Glacial Fortress on the top.
That is not going to do it.
Yeah, he can
assuming Devon remembers to tick up his Assemble.
Sure.
But
at this point,
I fully expect Devon too to advance to 3-0.
Yeah.
With a pretty crazy deck.
Absolutely.
His deck just, I mean, I don't hate his deck. I don't like the life gain cards in this matchup. But
so he's looking for Renounce the Guilds here? I don't know what he's looking for. What's he looking for that's cost 2?
He did not have it. So
I guess, did he have a land? No. He played his land. Yeah, I don't know what he was looking for.
Yeah, Devon presenting just a wild variety
of different threats. Yeah.
Most of them that are really tough. That's why did not like the Faith Benders, did not like the Nearhoof Pilgrims. Those are easy to deal with, not super impactful. You want those against when you need all the life points.
Right, when you're playing against aggressive decks, you can put these guys in front, you can gain life, all that kind of thing.